This is a presentation of BSRN, Box Studios Radio Network. The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here is your host of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard.
Jason, obviously talk a little bit about the moment just now. This is where you kind of really started your pro career.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about what it felt like to be inducted into the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it's a great honor, and Binghamton holds a special place in my heart. I had a lot of fun when I was here. We had great teams. The city was really supportive of us, which is really important, when you're playing in an American League city. And, it's just, lots of fun memories. So being back in the building was cool for me.
Can you take any from what you did when you were here to what you're doing now with the boys down in Wilkes-Barre?
Yeah, 100%. I think that's one of the advantages of having a whole lockout season here is I can really connect with the guys and explain to them why the importance of playing in the minors before you play in the NHL. And, you take all the experience you've had. And I think the friendships are probably the thing that sticks out the most is, I've really, to this day, Chris Kelly's one of my best friends, Brian McGrattan, and, obviously the passing of Ray Emery was a tragedy for all of us, but, our group of guys went to Ottawa and we stayed together and we played for a long time, and, really special time we had here.
What was it like seeing the fans today, getting to see them, meet them, and get autographs?
Yeah, it was cool. It was lots of familiar faces, which I was unsure, if people would still be around, and it's a lot of the same faces, and, people that were big supporters of us, so happy to see everybody.
What was the atmosphere like just for you tonight, just to see everybody come out for this event?
Yeah, it's great. It's great to see that the town is still supporting hockey and to come out for this event and support us. And, Dieter had a great time here when he played, and myself. And, anytime you can get fan support, it's great.
How did your time here in Binghamton prepare you for an NHL career?
Yeah, I think just the grind of 3-on-3s. I think having to play at the time the league was really physical. I think that helped me out a lot. And just, now we have veteran rules in the league, but back then it was a much older league, much more physical league. And you're taking a step from playing with junior kids to now playing against men that have wives and kids and families. And, it definitely makes you mature fast, and we had a great time.
Dieter, talk about your time here in Binghamton, because one of the coolest things that came out of your time here, you were the first guy to go from the UHL up to the NHL directly. Talk about your time here in Binghamton.
Yeah, some of my best memories playing pro hockey were here. So I was here for almost 2 full years, and a lot of these guys are still chasing the dream too. I was chasing the dream then. I hadn't played in the American Hockey League even, and just kind of the year came together. We had a great team, great coach with Brad Jones, and came together, and I was able to get opportunities and ended the year in the NHL, which is probably where nobody ever thought I would end up. So it was great memories.
How does it feel to be in the same Hall of Fame as Brad Jones as well here in Binghamton?
Yeah, I saw a lot of the names, and playing for him, it's a different kind of a culture where the guys aren't making NHL money. Like, these guys out here are playing because they love the game. They're following their dream, their passion, and that's what makes it that much special for me to come back and see some of the people that remember watching me 26 years ago. So yeah, it's super cool being back. I love what they've done to the rink, the locker room. It's
the better lights.
Yeah, it's a tremendous facility. It has so much history, and it has a pulse and an identity to it, where it's not just kind of, some of the rinks just have no feeling to them, and it's awesome to be back here.
Awesome. And how does it feel just to have a bunch of people wearing your jersey still? The atmosphere for cheering you on still to this day.
Super cool to see the old jersey. This is my favorite. I'm so glad they gave it to me, because it was the one jersey I regretted not getting while I played. I didn't have it, so this is definitely going to have a special spot for me in my collection of items.
Can you recall the feeling when you got called up from here to sign an NHL deal?
Yeah, it was just, a little bit starstruck. It just was a culmination of a lot of things really lining up for me, and I was I played here on, would have been like a Tuesday, and on a Friday I was playing in Tampa Bay. So it was a whirlwind of emotions. And looking back now in your career, I'm definitely proud of what I was accomplished, and being able to come back here. And my wife and I just drove through the city and tried to remember where we lived and see different things, and it was super cool. It's been a great weekend, and I'm super honored to be inducted.
What was it like seeing all the fans come out when you were giving the autograph sessions? What was that feeling like for you?
It's cool because it's been like 18 years since I played, so the biggest thing you miss from playing is just that energy before the game. So kind of be able to experience that from a different standpoint, where you don't have to deal with the actual stress of having to perform. So it's been great.
I'm good. Awesome. One more last one from you. What is it like to share this with Mr. Spezza here?
That's great because he was down during the lockout year, and I was in Bridgeport, so we played against each other that year, and they had an awesome team, and it was cool to come back here as a visitor. A little bit, it was different. It was kind of a weird feeling to play as a visitor against them, but I think a couple of our games went to shootouts, and he was a heck. I think I stopped him. You might have to check the tape, but I think we won in a shootout here, and I'm sure he would have shot. So,
what was it like to share this, getting the Hall of Fame with him?
Great. I mean, because I think you can see how much he's meant to the community. With there are so many Senator jerseys, and everybody, he has a lot more recognition than I do, but it's been really cool. And then just a great event. They did a great job.
And you were just listening to the voice of Dieter Kochan, a brand new Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame inductee for 2025. And before him was Jason Spezza. Hello, everyone. I am Bob Howard. I am the host of the Power Play Post Show. Welcome, everybody. This is the show for April 13th, 2025. This is season 14. Episode number 58 and episode number 497 in the long-running podcast that is the Power Play Post Show. So, yeah, on Friday night was my favorite night of the year, which is Hall of Fame night. Whichever night they decide to do it is usually my favorite night, and I was so happy to get to see Jason Spezza and Dieter Kochan get inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame. But not only that, we got to induct, finally, I say finally because this was long overdue, Johnny Hart, who basically helped create the lore that is the Broom Dusters, and of course just Binghamton hockey. And if you drive anywhere around Broome County, you will see his artwork all throughout the place. Johnny Hart, the famous cartoonist who obviously created the great cartoons like BC and Wizard of Id. Great stuff by Johnny Hart, and he was inducted into the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame. He created the logos for the BC Icemen and for the Broome Dusters, and what a great night it was getting to see those guys. I took pictures at the autograph signing. I put some of those pictures out there of just the whole night over the weekend on my socials, and I'm just really happy and proud to have been a part of being able to talk to them through the media, and I'm very excited that we're going to have Dieter Kochan on the show probably within the next week or two, maybe near the championship week as well, to just talk about the experience, about playing his whole career. We're really fortunate. Jason was so accommodating. Jason has become such a great ambassador for the game of hockey. I know there are mixed emotions or mixed thoughts about Jason Spezza, because when he was here, he was a kid, and he was, not wanting to really play in the American Hockey League because, of course, he wanted to play in the NHL. He was a second-round draft pick, and why would you want to play in Binghamton, New York, in the AHL when you wouldn't have had to if there was not a lockout year? So I think there's some mixed thoughts about Jason Spezza, and you shouldn't. he was very grateful about his time here in Binghamton. He learned a lot about how to be a pro, and it's allowing him as the general manager of the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins prepare those players. Like, he can have those conversations and say, listen, I was down there, and maybe he didn't like it at the time, but he appreciates it now, and he can explain that to the players. Just a great, great thing for, obviously, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, to get someone like him in there. He had a great season in 2004, 2005. And what's crazy about hockey is sometimes there's like that circle of things that kind of connect each other, right? The last time the city of Binghamton sold out double-digit hockey games was in 2004, 2005 when Jason Spezza played here, and they had 14 sellouts. And the Black Bears this weekend, with the games on Friday night and Saturday night, went to double digits for the first time for themselves, but also first time since 2004, 2005. It's been 20 years since we had double-digit sellouts. The Senators did it 2 years in a row, in 03, 04, and then 04, 05. And now the Black Bears have 10 this year. It's been a great season, folks. The Hall of Fame was great. The final game of the season was obviously outstanding. You know, it's great to have a packed house and you go and you win a game 10-1. Obviously, the games this weekend didn't really matter to the standings or the playoffs. There's no implications there. Realistically, it was just fine-tuning. Brant Sherwood obviously was able to go and put in some rookies on Saturday night. Tyson Kirkby played both games, came up short of 100 points. He had 97 points. Great year. Austin Thompson had a phenomenal final game of the regular season with 3 goals and assist. The hat trick to honestly get him to the point where he was he's the leader in goals this year. He had 39 goals this year, just like Tyson Kirkby had 39 goals last year. Still not getting that 40-goal score since Nikita Ivashkin and Tyler Jurich both surpassed, I believe, 50 goals. Both of them did in year number 1. But what a great weekend. What a great way to end the regular season. I can't believe the regular season is over, but it is, and that's kind of nuts for me. Listen, I got 2 games to cover, and I've got some final thoughts of the season to get to, so I'm going to get right into the must-reads. The Power Play Post Show is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on whichever platform you listen to your podcast, and please subscribe. Please join the Power Play Post Show Facebook group. If you're listening to this and you haven't joined our group yet, come on over and join. We got great stuff there. I write game day matchups. I write the game day threads. I do a day after game report. Taylor Welch is writing the Impact Players report. It is the best place to get all of your coverage of the Binghamton Black Bears. We cover anything that happens with players, roster moves, anything like that, right over at the Power Play Post Show Facebook group. So check it out. Check out BinghamtonHockey.net for all your Binghamton hockey information and curiosity. And on this edition of the Power Play Post Show, well, we already had Jason Spezza and Dieter Kochan on, right? I mean, you already got to hear that. We put that right in front. But from the Binghamton Black Bears, we also have their forward, Blake Tosto, who just returned back with the team. So very excited to have that interview, a sat-down interview with Blake last Wednesday, okay? So I was at practice, sat down with Blake, and we had a great conversation about his return and his season so far. So check out that here in just a little bit. But the Black Bears win their final 2 games of the regular season with 2 sellouts against Danbury, the Hat Tricks, and, of course, against the HC Venom on Saturday night. Now, first night, Friday night, Hall of Fame night. Everything started a little bit later. 7:30 p.m. was when they dropped the puck. After, obviously, the ceremony, which saw Johnny Hart, Jason Spezza, and, of course, Dieter Kochan get inducted into the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame. Great ceremony. Got to have a conversation with Mick who is the grandson of Johnny Hart. He and his cousin, he and his brother actually had taken over the cartoon business from Johnny. They're writing the new scripts. I think is amazing. I got to talk to him, say hello. I wore the Johnny Hart pin all night long. As a pencil artist who really just, that's what I cut my teeth in, being colorblind like Chris Mott. I didn't do a lot of color drawings. I didn't play with that. I just did black and white pencil, and which just kind of fits into the theme of Johnny Hart and what he did. It was great meeting Mick. Johnny Hart's daughter, she was having a grand old time. She was having a lot of fun. It was a great ceremony. I love this every single year, and I love the excitement from Brant Sherwood about this night. When he talks to me about Hall of Fame Nate, when he got to meet Coach Kurt Kleinendorf last year, when he got to talk to and meet Jason Spezza this year, I think Brant is starting to really realize, and maybe he didn't 2.5 years ago when he first got here, right? Like, appreciate what Binghamton means to the minor pro hockey world. I think he does now. He's excited about this night for the same reasons I am, right? You get Jason Spezza back into the building. You get Dieter Kochan back into the building. Kurt Kleinendorf was back into the buildings last year. Hell, the legend himself, Shimes, was in the building last year. And so it's really one of those really cool things where, it's good for recruiting. It's really good to keep maybe Brant here for another year, because maybe you'll see who is, so Connor Gates, if you're listening, if Tom Mitchell, if you're listening, if you guys, anyone is in their ear, pick somebody that's going to keep Brant Sherwood here for another year, and give them a heads up, because it would be great, obviously, to keep Brant. And I have a feeling, we're going to see him for a third full season of Binghamton Black Bears hockey, unless something crazy comes up and it's just an offer he can't resist, like AHL head coaching job, or even AHL assistant coaching job might be something that could pull Brant away from us, right? It would have to be the right place, obviously, in the ECHL for him to go. But Brant might have, a third season in him, and we'll see how this season ends first, right? So let's not put the cart before the horse. All right, the Black Bears defeated the Hat Tricks on Friday night, 6-2 on Hall of Fame night. The Hat Tricks get on the score sheet first with a goal at the 4:44 mark of the first period off the stick from former Black Bear Josh Newberg. The Black Bears then got the scoring going at home with the C.J. Stubbs tally at the 6:59 mark, with 6:59 left to go in the opening period. Jesse Anderson then scored the Black Bears' second goal, putting them on top for the first time in the game at the 15:45 mark. With Gavin Yates in the penalty box for slashing, Jesse Anderson scored the Black Bears' 17th shorthanded goal of the season, making this a 3-1 game. The speeches from the Hart family, Dieter Kochan and Jason Spezza, were short and allowed the game to start at 7:30 p.m. The Hat Tricks really only had pressure deep in the zone in front of Connor McManaman a couple times, including the Josh Newberg goal. The Black Bears defense really had pushed the Danbury offense really to the perimeter. They weren't really getting good shots on Friday night in the first period. Otherwise, the Black Bears started to control the game and was finding every different way to score on Frankie McClendon, including Jesse Anderson banking one off of his shoulder from the back, right? So he took the shot. I believe he was behind the goal line when he took the shot, and it bounced off him and went in. I would say not the start the Black Bears wanted, but a great way to end the period, right? Because, they did allow Danbury to get in deep, get the goal, take that 1-0 lead, but then the Black Bears came back and scored 3 unanswered goals, all right? Shots on goal in the first period was Binghamton 12, Danbury 8. All right, with Yates in the box, and this is in the second period, with Yates in the box for an unsportsmanlike conduct call, the Hat Tricks pull within 1 goal with a Chase Harwell man-up advantage goal at the 10:29 mark of the middle period. Okay. Then Tyson Kirkby, just 22 seconds later, scored the Black Bears' fourth goal of the game, regaining their 3-goal lead in this game. Notes for the second period. The second period through the first 10 minutes didn't have too much happening. It was kind of a quiet first 9.5, 10 minutes, except for 2 penalties, a Josh Newberg slashing call and a Yates unsportsmanlike conduct infraction after a suspicious icing call while the Black Bears were at the other end of a power play, and Gavin didn't like it. He said it, and he went to the box. Then the hat-trick score on the power play with Yates in the box, but the Black Bears come back and get their 2-goal lead just 22 seconds later, thanks to Tyson Kirkby's 36th goal of the season. Well, we'll talk about Tyson and Austin and them trading back and forth in Saturday's game. I don't think Emery's hit. Now, Emerson Henry got tagged for a boarding call. I don't know if it was a good call or not, because when I looked at it, man, I felt like if that was an open ice hit, not a problem, right? So I don't think the hit was dirty, right? So I maybe it's just me being a little biased here. I'm sure that's probably what it is. I feel like the player was hunched over, and maybe Emerson could have probably, pulled back a little bit, but he checked him, and the guy just put himself right into the board. So, again, I understand the call. I just didn't like it, to be honest with you. Pretty even period between the two teams. Shots on goal, Binghamton 14, Danbury 7. I've come to realize that when I think sometimes it's an even period, the Black Bears are still going to outshoot a team double. Just really what it comes down to. All right. In the third period, after seeing the sin bin battle a little bit in the game, Gavin Yates found the back of the net with just 2:08 into the third period, giving the Black Bears a 5-2 lead. And then Donald Oliveri made this a 6-2 game with 2:47 left to go in the game, scoring his 21st goal of the game. And again, Gavin spent a couple times in the penalty box. Boom, and then in the third period, he scores a goal just 2:08 into the period. That's just the way it is. The Black Bears had no problem tonight with the hat tricks. Now, the hat tricks did not play Johnny Ruiz or Kyle Gonzalez. That's 2 key players for the hat tricks. Jesse Anderson just was simply clutch tonight, or on Friday night. He was feeling his stick and almost had the hattie. However, the post got in the way. Connor McAnanama saved 21 of 23 shots to win his league-high 30th win of the season. I truly think that Connor could win Goalie of the Year. Black Bears win their 48th game and improve to 48-6-1 with 140 points. Now, of course, the Black Bears were back on Saturday for the regular season finale against the HC Venom on Fan Appreciation Night. Shots on goal in the last period was Binghamton 17, Danbury 8, for a total of Binghamton 43 and Danbury 23. Okay, so here are the final numbers running through Friday night's game. They win their 48th game on Hall of Fame night 5-2. Before the game, Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame inducted Dieter Kochan, Jason Spezza, and Johnny Hart into the class of 2025. Jesse Anderson scored 2 goals in the game, his 11th and 12th goals, and had the game winner. CJ Stubbs scored his 23rd goal of the season, the first goal for the Black Bears, and had an assist for a 2-point night. Tyson Kirkby scored his 36th goal of the season and assisted on a goal for a 2-point night. Don Oliveri scored his 20th goal of the season and had an assist for a 2-point night. Gavin Yates scored his 21st goal of the season. Austin Thompson had 3 assists in the game. Dan Stone had 2 assists in the game. Connor McAnanama saved 21 of 23 shots and again won his 30th game of the season. And the Black Bears are now 48-6-1 with 140 points going into, obviously, Saturday's game. Now, Saturday's game, the Black Bears then won their 49th win of the season. 49th game of the season. They win it with a 10-1 dominant performance over the HC Venom. The Black Bears started the scoring quickly at the 131 mark of the opening period with Nicholas Swain's 5th goal of the season. Ricard Jelenkis got the Venom on the board with a goal at the 16:35 mark on the first period, tying the game up at 1 goal apiece. Responding to the Venom's goal was Chris Mott, scoring his 14th goal of the season, putting the Black Bears up 2-1, and of course getting the game winner right there, as we all know. After Venom's netminder John Moriarty was thrown from the game for using his blocker with the intent to injure, this is that penalty we don't see that often. The Black Bears scored 2 power play goals. First from Dakota Bond at the 1947 mark of the period, and then from Nicholas Swain with a half a second left to go, making this a 4-1 game very quickly. There was obviously some conversation after the 4th goal where did the time run out? And I can't really tell what the referees were doing because they didn't really look at it, so to speak. They just said, hey, put a half a second up there and drop it. Now, of course, the Black Bears were on a power play because of a match penalty, okay? Because of John Moriarty's match penalty. However, the referees allowed the Venom to have 5 guys on the ice when they dropped the puck. Now, of course, it's the end of the season. Of course, they won 10-1. Not a big deal. But, man, it's just something they missed, right? With the lines jumbled up, you have to like the play of the Black Bears so far in the first period. It was really good throughout. Swain scored his 5th goal in his 9th game and did so on the Black Bears' first shot of the game. So far, the game has been played mostly in front of the Venom's netminder through the first 7+ minutes. They will call the interference on Moriarty like they did on Austin Thompson 9 times out of 10. So, when Tomner kind of ran into the goaltender Moriarty, he wasn't necessarily in his blue crease, but he was close enough that they're going to call that interference almost all the time. Black Bears had 2 early shorthanded chances through the kill and gave up no shots on goal in their first kill of the night. The puck possession game is definitely being won by the Black Bears. If they play like this way for the whole game, no matter how many they score, the Venom are not going to get a lot of chances. Then the Venom go at the 16:35 mark and prove me wrong. A beautiful tic-tac-toe to tie the game, beating Hapward. But it was a well-executed play for the Jelenkas goal. It was probably one of the nicer goals we saw all weekend from any one of the 3 teams. I saw the puck being thrown by Moriarty at Tyson Kirkby. Then the ruckus just developed, and the Black Bears really don't need that kind of play. But I can understand why it kind of broke down, right? And I don't know if Moriarty meant anything by throwing the puck like he did. It's one of those things where, the play happened. Obviously, Tyson was not happy with the throwing of the puck in his way. It kind of went up near his face, and you just don't want to see that. And I think it broke. That everything else broke down that way, and obviously he was thrown from the game, which only made sense. We haven't seen that kind of penalty in a long time. At least I haven't seen it called in a long time. And I think the last time I saw it called was, I think, in the American Hockey League. So, pretty interesting. During this first period, I noticed that it looked like it was a sellout, and they did officially announce it as the 10th sellout of the season for the Black Bears, an increase from last year where they had 7 sellouts on the season. Shots on goal in the first period was Binghamton 21, HC Venom had 5. So they just dominated that first period. In the second period, the Black Bears then struck first in the middle period with Austin Thompson's 37th goal of the season at the 6:14 mark. With a lot of traffic in front of the Venom's netminder, Tyson Kirkby cleaned up a rebound, scoring his 37th goal of the season, making this a 6-1 lead with 4:47 left to go in the period. The Venom were able to kill the remainder of the match penalty when the second period started. But the Black Bears scored 2 power play goals during the power play, which was in the first period. which did include a portion of it being 5-on-3. Thompson's goal put him one goal ahead of Tyson Kirkby for the team leading goals with 37. Then, 4:43 left to go in the middle period, Tyson scored his 37th goal of the season, tying Austin again with the team in goals. The Black Bears controlled the puck so much. They were basically toying with the Venom at some points during the period. And I don't mean that in a negative way. They were just like controlling the puck so much, the Venom really couldn't do anything. And when the Venom did get the puck, 2 passes later, they're turning over the puck. A very good period for the Black Bears with 2 goals more than doubling the shots on goal as well. Binghamton's shots on goal was 19, HC Venom was 7. Through 40 minutes, we're looking at Binghamton with a 40 shots on goal to the HC Venom's 12. In the third period, scoring his first goal of the season in the last regulation game was Anthony Barnado, who scored on the power play at the 5:46 mark of the final period, making this a 7-1 game. Austin Thompson took the season goal lead back with his 38th goal, which was assisted by Tyson Kirkby at the 6:57 mark of the third period, giving the Black Bears a 7-goal lead in the game. Thompson was not done there as he scored his hat-trick goal, his 39th of the season, with 9:02 left to go in the period, also scoring the Black Bears' third power play goal of the game. Getting the Black Bears to double digits was Dakota Bond stealing the puck while a man down, while they were on the penalty kill, killing a Donald Oliveri penalty, and came streaking into the offensive zone. Instead of taking the shot himself, he dropped the puck back to Chris Mott, who scored the Black Bears' 10th goal and the 18th shorty of the season. Now, I've been told, I don't know how accurate this is, but apparently they were really trying to get it to Nick Poirier so Nick Poirier could get on, because out of all of the players for the Black Bears that were regular players this season, Nick was the only one that did not get his first professional goal. But Chris Mott did sink it and obviously got the 10th goal for the Binghamton Black Bears. He also had the game-winning goal, so he's got a little cachet there going too. Bernardo had a beautiful shot to get his first goal, which he did on the power play. Didn't take long for either Austin Thompson or Tyson Kirkby to get to 38. Tyson assisted on Austin's 38th goal, giving him the lead. And then Austin scored his third goal of the game. But let's be fair, Tyson had and he have been great line mates this season. No matter who won the scoring race for the Black Bears, both Tyson and Austin helped each other a lot this season. The Black Bears scored 3 power play goals in the game from Bond, Swain, and Bernardo. With the 3 power play goals in this game, the Black Bears scored a league-high 71 power play goals and ended the season ranked first overall with a .262 rate, which was just 2,000 of a tenths higher than the Watertown Wolves. So they are still going to be ranked first in the league going into the playoffs. The game had some rough stuff. The odd play with John Moriarty tossing the puck towards Kirkby, and then the penalty to him for using his blocker for an intent to injure action, which I don't think he was trying to injure somebody. It was more of they started going at it, and his blocker was there, and he used it, as well as 2 fights, both involving Jesse Anderson. Now, Jesse Anderson had 2 goals in the game on Friday, then has 2 fights on Saturday. Doing a little bit of everything is what Jesse Anderson really, really does well for this team. The Black Bears, 10th sellout of the year. C.J. Happert saved 19 of 20 shots to earn his 4th win of the season, and the Black Bears win their 49th game and improve to 49, 6-1, and 143 points. Shots on goal, Binghamton 19, HC Venom 8, totals Binghamton 59, and HC Venom 20. Final score, let's talk a little bit about the overall numbers here. Black Bears win their final game of the season 10-1 over the Venom. Austin Thompson scored a hat trick, getting his 37th, 38th, and 39th goals of the season. Ending the scoring race with Tyson Kirkby is the leader for the Black Bears with 39 goals. Austin also had an assist in the game for a 4-point night. Nicholas Swain scored 2 goals, and he had an assist giving him a 3-point night. Tyson Kirkby scored his 37th goal of the season and had 2 assists for a 3-point night. Dakota Bond had a goal and 2 assists for a 3-point night. Dan Stone, Don Oliveri each assisted on 2 goals in the game, and Anthony Bernardo scored his first professional goal. Chris Mott scored his 14th and 15th goals of the season. His last goal was the Black Bears' 18th shorthanded goal of the season. C.J. Happert saved 19 of 20 shots for his 4th win, and the Black Bears win their 49th game and improved to 49-6-1 and end the regular season with 143 points. And with last night's sellout, the Black Bears had 10 sellouts this season. The first time a Binghamton hockey team has done this since the 2004-2005 season when the B-Sens had 14 sellouts. So double-digit sellouts for the first time since 2004-2005. Great 2 games for the Black Bears, and they just played very, very well. Now, before we get over to the Blake Tosto interview, the 2024 and 25 accomplishments for the Black Bears. Let's talk about this for a second. 3 games with 10 or more goals. This happened on January 31st against Columbus. They had 11 goals. On February 15th against the HC Venom, they had 11 goals as well. So those are the 2 highest goal-scoring games for the Black Bears this year. And then, of course, final game of the season on 4/12 on Saturday night, HC Venom, they had 10 goals as well. Now, the Black Bears also played very well defensively this year. Maybe probably the thing that they improved on the most from last year to this year, and just in their first 3 seasons to this year. They had 6 shutouts this year. October 19th against HC Venom, November 19th against Port Huron, and let's see here, November 16th against the Danbury Hat. Let's see here. Am I reading that right? Yeah, I think I'm reading that right. Let's see here. Yeah. Danbury on 12/28 against Danbury, 2/28 against the Dashers, and then 3/15 against the Carolina Thunderbirds. Basically, 6 shutouts. Eggy had 2 of them. Connor Seamack had 4 of them. All right. Franchise record in wins, winning percentage, 49-6-1. So they have 49 wins. That's a franchise record of 49 wins. 851 winning percentage. They tied the Carolina Thunderbirds for the most wins, 49 in league history. They did that. Theirs in 2018-2019. Franchise record in win streak, which is 18 games. They did that from January 10th to March 7th. Franchise record in goals for 289. Franchise record in goals against, 141. So that was the least in the 4 years that they've been an organization in the FPHL. League lead in power play goals with 71. Okay, last year they had 81. So that was the franchise record. Franchise record still stands at 81 from last year. Has led the league in this category every season in their 4 years of existence. So they've scored more power play goals in the last 4 years than any of the teams. Franchise record in shorthanded goals with 18. Goal differential, which was amazing, a plus 148. That'll be a franchise record as well. Players scored 10 or more goals. Okay, there were 12 of them. Thompson had 39 goals. Kirkby had 37 goals. Stubbs had 23. Yates had 21. Oliveri had 20. Clark had 20. Ramakers and Bond both had 17. Stefan and Mott both had 15. Anderson had 12, and so did Zach Sirota. So 12 players with 10 or more goals. 10 or more power play goals. There were 2 of them. Tyson Kirkby with 12 and Oliveri with 11. Plus minus leader was Dan Stone with a plus 56. He also ended the season as the highest plus minus player in the league. And Dakota Bond, I think, was second with a plus 30 or plus 53. Franchise season wins by a goalie. That's a new franchise record with 30 from Connor McAnanima. Same thing with goals against average with a 2.08. and save percentage .922, Connor McAnanama. And I do believe, honestly, from hearts to hearts, the way I look at it, Connor McAnanama was the best goalie this season in the SPHL. I also want to note the Black Bears never lost more than one game in a row in their 7 losses. First time in franchise history that they've done that, which is pretty cool. So, and with all of those numbers, it puts them into a great position to be ready for the playoffs, which will start on Tuesday, technically, for the Watertown Wolves, who will be hosting the Motor City Rockers. And whoever wins that game, it's a playing game. It's like a wild card game, like in other sports, the way they do it. And whoever wins that game will host Game 1 on Friday. Black Bears will have Game 2 on Saturday. And because of Easter on Sunday, the Black Bears would host Game 3 on Monday if that game is needed. So we will certainly see if that is needed and go from there. Now, we here at the Power Play Post Show and on the Facebook group, we're going to have a lot of coverage of the playoffs, obviously, as we go forward. So, with that all being said, I'm going to send it over now to my interview with Blake Tosto. So, we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Hi, this is Don Biggs from the 92-93 Binghamton Rangers. Hi, this is Brandon Buczynski.
This is Grady Wittenberg, the voice of the Binghamton Senators, and you're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. Season's over with, regular season, 56 games. I don't know what happened because we're recording this here on Thursday, but I am here with Binghamton Black Bears forward Blake Tosto. He's back from the SPHL. Blake, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you.
Yes, thank you for having me back.
First of all, I want to say my condolences to the Tigers last year. You and I did message a little bit on Instagram about it, but I feel bad. You love your Detroit teams, and that's great. I don't think the Red Wings are going to win again for a long time. Probably not. Am I wrong? But the Tigers and the Lions are doing great.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I remember talking to my buddies back at home, and just where Detroit sports were about 5 years ago.
Yes,
like the Red Wings were still at the top, even though they had some down seasons. But like, who would have thought in that time period the Lions would be the first team to win a playoff game in that span, and then on top of that, the Tigers to come on a couple months later to win a playoff game as well, just where they were at in the last 4 or 5 years. So, and then speaking of just Detroit teams in the bottom, like the Pistons now, they just clinched a playoff spot, and they had the worst record in the league last year. So, it's crazy how everything's kind of turned where, like, the Red Wings were just up here on this pedestal, and everyone cared about the Red Wings. And it was like, Lions, Tigers, Pistons, whatever. But everything's just completely 180 now.
Are you happy that baseball's back?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Will you get to a game, whether it be here with the Rumble Ponies or will it be sometime after the season's over with?
Yeah, I think, it's one thing we like to do here is go to those games and support those guys, and it's a good team bonding event for us. Mm-hmm. But once the season's over, I'll be back in Michigan, so I'm sure I'll catch a couple Tigers games this summer.
Do you think Tyson will get into the batting cage with the Rumble Ponies? I know that was talked about recently and everything. And do you think he could, maybe hit a ball?
That's a great question. There's that whole argument that hitting a baseball is one of the hardest things to do.
It is. And
I would love for him to do it. It's, challenge is on for Kirks.
All right, so you started off the season here in Binghamton. You obviously, I think, probably enjoyed your time here in Binghamton, but then the call-up happened to go to Pennsacola. Talk to me a little bit about that conversation that either came from Brant or from their coach about getting you up in Pennsacola.
Right. Yeah, so started off the year here, and initially I had been invited to Pensacola's camp, and I declined just because I wanted to come here and start out the season the right way. And I talked to Brent all summer about I wanted to start here. I wasn't going to go to any camps, and that was just kind of the game plan. And, if there was going to call up that would happen throughout the season, I would probably take it. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of our plan. And then things kind of just plateaued during that October, November period. And then all of a sudden I got a call from their coach, and he talked to Brant and asked if I'd come down. And he called me after, I believe we played Danbury right before Thanksgiving. And everything just kind of happened all at once. And I was like, this is something that I wanted to do, and give it a chance. And then the rest was history.
Let's be honest. You did not want to sit through a Binghamton winter, did you? Because this was one of the coldest, wettest, snowiest winters we've had in a long time here in Binghamton. And you're down there in Pennsacola just kind of like getting all the sun rays and everything. I think you still have a little bit of a tan.
Yeah, it was great. It was funny.
But you guys got snow.
We did.
We did.
We did get snow. When I first was driving down there, it was funny how going through upstate New York here through Pennsylvania all the way down, you're going to see the temperature in my car rise from the 20s, the 30s, in North Carolina it was the 50s, and then all the way down to Alabama and Florida it was in the 70s. But yeah, I definitely missed out on the winter. But to what you were saying, it was funny. We were actually in Evansville as a team.
I messaged you. I said, hey, how's the snow down there?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I'm not there. I'm in Evansville.
Yeah, I know. We were literally in snow in Indiana. But, the whole town shut down. I remember one of my roommates, his parents were actually in town the weekend before for a home series.
Yeah.
And they shut down the airport and everything. So his parents couldn't get back home. So that was a big deal.
Wow. But talk a little bit about the difference between Binghamton and Pennsacola. What are the differences? Let's talk away from the rink and just the social life, the life itself. How is it different?
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes for any team. Everything's different people, different personnel in the front office, coaching staff. So it was an adjustment, and it was weird just because when you get there, things are a little uncomfortable. And where Pennsacola was when I got there, last in the standings, guys were kind of walking on eggshells because they know if they'd have a job the next day, or kind of the shake-up within the team and all that stuff. So once I kind of got my feet wet into the whole thing, it got better, and over time just started to develop friendships and relationships with people in the front office, and gradually just time took its course with all of it, and it was great.
Was there ever any consistency of which line mates you had?
Yeah, so initially it was kind of, I was getting put with this guy, and then there was a time period where I was playing with a winger. His name's Ivan Bondarenko. Okay. Him and I played probably, I'd say, most of the time I was there together. Maybe a couple of weeks we didn't play together, but most of the time we played together.
How important is that to have at least one guy that you know where he's going to be on the ice, he knows where you're going to be on the ice, you guys know each other's tendencies?
Yeah, no, it was, it's paramount, especially as a hockey player, just having the chemistry, and, when things are quick and fast out there, you have less than a split second to make a decision. So just kind of understanding where each other was at in the ice just makes it so much easier, and you just have that chemistry, and you can just throw a puck blindly. You don't know that your winger's going to be there.
You didn't know 3 months ago that you were going to be back in Binghamton realistically, but you kept telling me privately, Bob, I'm going to be back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Now, the team didn't make the playoffs. So obviously you were able to come back and kind of further your, not just your Binghamton career, but just keep playing hockey this season.
Right.
And obviously that was probably an agreement between you and the head coach there in Pennsacola, and probably with Brant, right? It's like an agreement that, hey, listen, if you guys don't make it to the playoffs, Blake can come down. Is it kind of weird to go up there, be up there, solidify, play most of your season up there, but then come back here?
Yeah, definitely. He just, like I said, talking about adjustments, I think once I got comfortable and understood the routines and the whole dynamic of being an ice flyer down there, and then coming back here, you just have to reestablish yourself. And, I'm still trying to adjust and get comfortable with the guys again and readjusted. But, yeah, definitely something that I didn't really think about at first. But then once I got back, I was like, oh, wow, even though I was here before and things are the same, it's still not the same.
So so you met the guys in Athens, correct?
Correct.
Who was the first person you saw when you hooked up with the team?
So I had to pick up Clarkey and Motter from the airport.
Oh.
Yeah. So it just was natural where I was coming from in Pensacola. I drove through Atlanta, and that's where the team obviously flew into.
Yep.
So I picked them up, and then we had another hour and a half, 2 hours to Athens.
Gotcha. And, which is kind of makes sense because you've been playing with, obviously, Clark and Mott on the third line. Good chemistry between the three of you guys?
Yeah, I think we had a game or two before I left to Pensacola together, and just college guys that we played against each other for 4 years. So I think we all kind of play the same way or have similar styles. So I think it'll be a good thing going forward.
Now, down there, did you play on the right wing?
I actually played center down there.
You played center down there?
Yes.
There's a different skill set to being a center versus a wing. And even sometimes a different skill set between a left wing and a right wing.
Yes.
So talk to me a little bit about going down there and then you're being put onto the center.
Yeah, so initially when I got down there, I was put on wing. And then previously playing in college, I had been a center. Even in junior hockey, I was a centerman. So they moved me to center, and it's a totally different game, totally different dynamic, like you said. And one of the skills I take pride in is winning faceoffs.
Yeah.
And that's something that's so important because just puck possession in a hockey game is so important. So even if, let's say you're not having your best night or you're not getting the opportunities, you're still effective as a player, as a centerman, if you're winning faceoffs.
So between you and Chris Mott, who can win more faceoffs?
That's a great question. I mean, I hope we both have similar numbers because that means we're going to have the puck more and our team's going to be successful that way.
Because Steph and Kirkby win a lot of faceoffs.
They do. Yeah. It's
one of the reasons why Binghamton does have a lot of puck possession, other than the ability to, pass the puck really well and, keep other players away from them in certain zones. They do a pretty good job at that, but it's kind of important. But on the third line, if the two of you can go back and forth and win faceoffs, that's huge for the team.
Yeah, definitely. So it's a skill set we work on here in practice, and ultimately just translates in the game.
Now, you're one of the guys that stays on the ice a pretty long time during practice. Do you not get enough workout or whatever, or are you just working on individual skill kind of things at the end of the practice?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I'm not one of those players that can just be out there and just
run through the drills.
Right. I have to put in extra work, and I didn't think more just for my mind. I know that I'm putting in effort and trying to become a better player every day.
One of your buddies from college has been here, played 4 games. We haven't seen him in a while, so hopefully he's finishing up his degree. You know, that's very important. Clarkey did that last year, went back and forth. Can you talk to me a little bit about Darian and what kind of a player he is and what you think he's going to be as a pro?
Yeah, no, Darian's one of my best friends from school. We played together for 4 years on a line, so we would go in the trenches together as players, and then off the ice, like I said, good friends. So, like you said, I hope he's doing his school and finishing that up these last couple months, as I know he will. But as a player, he's super skilled. He's slippery. He can be very evasive just based off his skating ability and the way he can move the puck. He's got a scoring touch, so he's a good player, and I'm sure once he establishes himself and puts in a good summer, he'll be effective.
He told the story about being here, and I talked to you about it a little bit off air, and he said, I'm going to be playing here. And the way he said it sounded like he was like a kid in a candy store.
Right.
Was he just saying that because he was on the podcast with me, or is he really just that excited about being able to play in this ring for this team, for this organization?
Absolutely. Like him and a couple of the other guys that we played with at school came up here last year when I just was starting here, and he said, dang, this is awesome. I'm going to be here next year. Mm-hmm. And, fast forward a year later, he did it, and it all worked out, and I'm happy that it did, and I'm hoping that he'll be here in the future.
Blake, talk a little bit about what you think this team has to do or keep doing to win another cup.
We just have to keep, polishing our game and making sure we're doing the right things on and off the ice. And we have the skill, we have the ability, we have the people, and most importantly, we have the mindset. That's the one thing I noticed when I got back last week in Athens is like there's this sense of pride in just being able to go out there and succeed as a team. Like, there's guys that at the next level that, don't necessarily show that stuff and are more individualistic, but that was the one thing when I got back I noticed. I was like, wow, like guys just don't care about their individual success or how many minutes they're getting or what role they're in. They just want to go out there and just be a Black Bear and win the hockey game.
Do you think that comes from Brant, goes from Brant down?
For sure.
Yeah,
I think that's just the culture that's set here and the standard. So naturally, I think everyone buys in, and if you don't, then you're just kind of an outlier and you're on the way out.
Do you guys care who you play in the first round, whether it's Motor City or Watertown?
No, I mean, both are going to be tough opponents, and we have to be ready for them. And those are going to be 2-3 games that are going to be super difficult, and we just have to take care of our own business, and I'm sure it'll be good.
You remember Watertown on opening night here?
Yeah.
They raised the banner, and they came out and they wanted to play spoiler, and they did so.
Yep.
The Black Bears have then won every single game since then against the Wolves. Motor City, they basically swept 5-0 in those games.
Yep.
But can teams kind of get a little overconfident and sometimes think past that?
Absolutely.
And how do you guys keep yourself grounded so you don't do that? That's a hard thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think a lot of it is just being present in the moment and making sure every day, like in practice here, like every rep counts. Like we're doing those habits that good teams do. Like, and those are the things that will separate us in the playoffs. They're going to be tight games, and that's the reality of doing these 2-3 game series is like you have one bad period, it could end your whole season.
Mm-hmm.
It just one of those things that we have to make sure that we're always ready to go and we have that mindset that we're doing the right things. And, if we do that, I think we'll be fine.
You scored the Black Bears' first shorthanded goal, and now you have scored their 16th. I've talked about this all season long, about how this team, when they're on the penalty kill, have the confidence and they know when to pull the trigger. So talk to me about the game in Athens and when you guys pulled that trigger. I think it was Thompson that got you the puck,
yes,
if I remember correctly, because you guys were on the penalty kill
right
together. Talk a little bit about how you knew it was okay to start when he got the puck.
Yeah, I think it was just read and react. That's just all hockey is read and reacting. And he's a smart player, and I kind of gambled that he was going to win that puck battle, which he did, and made a nice pass. And the way I went and got the job done. So
talk about the shot. I mean, like when you're streaking in there.
Yeah.
How quick of a decision does it have to be to take that shot?
When you get that puck and you have that time to look up and you're by yourself and, there's a guy that's probably a couple stick lengths away from behind you, like you process that and you like try and think like what you want to do. And in that moment I had a lot of speed. So I was like, I'm just going to try and beat him with my shot. And he made a good save initially, and then it just went right back to my stick, and I just closed my eyes and shot it, and it went in.
People don't usually get a gift like that. Right?
Yeah.
It's like you take the shot, it's like, crap, he made the save, but then, oh, wait, there's a puck on my stick again.
Right.
And then you have to lift it a little bit, right? And not everybody can make that shot. So, but again, this team can score shorthanded. It's like it's almost an advantage in some cases.
It is, and I think that's what makes us so versatile. It's just like there's confidence when we go on the kill that there may be opportunities to go play offense, and that's something that gets us excited. And like that's a role that a bunch of players on this team have. It's just like killing penalties and And then if the opportunity is there to provide offense on the kill.
I've said about this team, and correct me if I'm wrong, there is a lot of systems that are in place that Coach Sherwood has you guys doing. But I feel like at times there's a little bit of a run and gun.
Yeah.
That is almost like, all right, if you got the opportunity, go ahead and do it.
Yep.
You were telling me that sometimes in the SP it's very physical. The speed of the game is a little bit faster. The decision of the playmakers. As we talk about Binghamton playing an SPHL team, what kind of adjustments would have to be made on this team to play an SP team?
Like I said, just more of the decision making, like we have the skill, we have the skating ability, but at the next level, it's all about the processing, and everything it's just a step quicker, it's cleaner, it's crisper. But I think just a couple adjustments, and definitely can compete for sure.
I know you listened to the Darian interview. How did he do?
Did great.
Yeah, how did I do?
He did great too. Great questions.
Okay, good.
The one question I thought about is the zombie apocalypse question.
Yes.
I was thinking about that.
I didn't bring my list with me, but I could probably remember most of the list. It is a Sunday show that we're doing this on. We could go through those. God, I probably won't remember all 6 of them, but we can do this. So let's do that. So the number one question, though, the first question is, who is the greatest influence in your playing career?
Yeah, definitely my dad.
Your dad?
Yes. Why? He got me into hockey. Now,
did he play?
He did. So my dad and my uncle, they played growing up. My dad, he stopped playing after high school.
Okay.
But my uncle played at Michigan State. So just naturally on that side of the family, hockey was a big deal. So he got my brother and I into hockey at a young age, and he coached both of us all the way up until about 12, 13 years old. And he kept pushing us, especially in the summertime. He made it a habit for us to go shoot pucks in our basement.
Right.
And I think naturally that's how I fell in love with the game. It was just repetition and just kind of playing, especially having a younger brother, just doing that every day. And then I think a lot of it too is not only my dad providing that for us, but we would always watch the Red Wings. And during that time period growing up, the Red Wings are always the pinnacle of the NHL. So watching those guys and learning from players like Pavel Datsyuk, Henrik Zetterberg, and just idolizing those guys as a kid, just I just like to mimic my game like that.
Yeah. I think the number two question, and I'm probably going to get these really out of order. What's one day game ritual that you have to do before a game? What's one thing you have to do? It can be something involved with hockey or something outside of hockey.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to be superstitious, even though every single player is. So I don't know. I get my own head about that stuff. So the one thing I do take pride in is I love to do breathing exercises and visualization before games.
Do you meditate?
I do.
Okay, gotcha. How long have you been meditating for?
So I went to a mental coach, like a mental training coach, in high school, and he kind of taught me the way. And then over time, maybe I got away from it, but as I've gotten older and started to learn and read about all that stuff, I felt that it was important to continue, or at least try and get back into it. And every game since probably junior hockey, I've been doing it. So
I've actually talked to a few goaltenders that do a lot of meditating because it's important for them. Goaltenders, I mean, it's the craziest job in sports, I think. To have that many pucks coming at you, getting hit in the face, then having players like yourself go up and tap them and, get into them. I mean, mentally, it has to be very difficult. So, but I started meditating probably 7 or 8 years ago. I was working for the company I'm working for now, and they brought somebody in and taught us to meditate and to breathe. And I was like, wow, I wish I had this when I was in school.
Yeah.
And so to me, 3-4 times a day, I'll just stop whatever I'm doing, kind of just close my eyes, concentrate on how I'm breathing. It really does affect the way you react to things afterwards.
Right.
And how you kind of just incorporate knowing your body even for doing just other things other than playing sports. It really does make a difference.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I remember I watched a video. I think it was Jerry Seinfeld was talking about meditating and breathing, and he was basically making a whole story how like your brain is like a phone, and the charger to get your battery up is breathing.
Yeah,
and I thought that was a great analogy.
It's so true though. It's very, very true. It's why I can take a 20-minute nap, wake up, and have so much energy.
Yeah.
A lot of people do it, and they're like, oh, I'm so groggy. You're probably not really sleeping then. You're probably closing your eyes, and you're thinking you are, but you're probably not getting to a deep enough state that it's actually helping your body and your mind kind of relax. Recover is the big word there. All right, number 3. I'm not going to go through all the sports because I'm going to forget it. Is baseball the one sport that away from hockey you kind of tend that your mind goes to, or is it MLB, is it the NFL? Really, what sport is it outside of hockey that if you're going to sit down and watch something, you're going to go to that?
Definitely football.
It's football.
Yes.
So Lions have higher level than Tigers for you.
Yes. Yes. Like baseball is one thing. It's a great sport to go watch in person because it's not a sport that you have to watch every second of, right?
Sure.
So I think
it's
naturally
slow.
from a leisure standpoint, I like watching baseball, and there's some family history with the Tigers and stuff. So I think I have a connection with the Tigers in that way. But from a fan standpoint and just the overall sport, I love watching football.
Now, do you golf?
I love golfing, yes.
Okay, so have you already been on the links with these guys yet?
Yeah, I mean, initially. It's been too cold since we've been back. So.
Well, because I know a couple of the guys have gone out, and they've gotten out already this year, so wasn't sure if you guys had gotten back out. You have your own clubs? Do you bring them with you? Does everybody have their own clubs?
I think for the most part.
Nobody's renting any clubs?
Yeah, no, I think everyone's got their own set of clubs.
Does Eggie ever go out to the golf course?
He does.
He does?
Yes.
He golfs?
Yes, I remember.
He and I have never talked about that before.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I thought he was just a music freak like me.
Yeah, so I think it was last year in the spring. He got a golf set from, I think, some sort of Goodwill or a thrift store.
Sure.
And he just came out with us one day and started. I think any hockey player that tries golf for the first time, they're going to have some sort of knack to it because it's got that hand-eye and the same motion. So, I mean, for a first-time golfer, I didn't think Eggie was too bad.
Well, he's got the body where he could probably put some force into it and at least go long. I mean, whether or not you go straight or whatever, who knows, but that's pretty cool. Okay, one of the other questions I know is like, if you were picking a movie, what genre of movie do you kind of tend to normally?
I mean,
we did have someone say rom-com. Two guys actually said rom-com.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. I was actually surprised. I got to go back through and write all this down so I can put it out there for everyone. But yeah, what genre is yours?
Yeah, genre. So I think just during the season, there's a lot that goes on, and you just want to keep yourself at peace about everything. So during the season, I tend to watch comedies.
That's either Minnie or Dakota in the background, if the fans can hear that. So comedies.
Yep. So comedies during the season, and then. If I were just going to go watch a movie or like during the summer just for fun or whatever, I love psychological thrillers.
Nice.
Yes.
So my wife and you would get along because she absolutely loves what we call death TV, which is all the crime. But she likes psychological thrillers as well. And she likes to get in the mind of what's really being said here. Because, a lot of those movies, it's about the crime, it's about the murder or whatever, right? But there's also a underlining kind of theme or like, hey, this is a unique thing about the human nature, and here you go in a movie.
Right. Yeah, it's just like it's like a brain workout where you have to start connecting the dots or like, why is this happening right now, and how is this connected to
and what the
past
writer's
or
trying to say,
present or the future? So, one of my favorite directors is Christopher Nolan. So,
absolutely.
I mean, he writes some of the best films. So,
I think that was only 4, but I can't remember what the 5th one is. Either way, let's move on to the one. So what was it about the last question about the zombie apocalypse? You're stuck here at the arena, the ice hockey arena, of course.
Right.
And what was it about what Darian said, before we get your answer, that you thought was interesting?
Well, he mentioned he would have Darth Vader, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was a good one.
Okay.
I started thinking about that, and I was like, yeah, like Obi-Wan Kenobi would be good because kind of same thing. Like you can use the Force and like.
Well, and then after he dies, he'll still be on your side. Showing up every once in a while, going, "Use the Force, please. Use the floor."
Right.
Force.
But I don't know, from like an assassin standpoint, I was thinking like Keanu Reeves and what are those movies?
You're talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember
right,
now. I know. John Wick.
Yeah, John Wick. That's right. Like I remember I was watching it just like at the hotel one time. I was like, oh my gosh, this movie's nuts.
Yeah.
But that theme of like just being an assassin.
So you would pick his character or somebody like that.
Yeah,
to
like
be
a John Wick. Who else?
So not a friend or a girlfriend or a parent. You're looking for survival.
Yeah, survival.
It's so interesting to me. And the reason why I kept that question from last year to this year, it's the only question I kept, was because it does make me kind of like, you kind of get into the mind of the person you're asking that question to, because are they thinking about comfort? They're thinking about survival, and it's two different things.
For sure.
So
yeah.
I find that interesting. What are you hoping for in the playoffs?
Just for us to continue what we're doing and run it back.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, the goal is in front of us, and we just have to do it.
If Athens is the team that you get to, last year they beat Carolina in 3. Can you guys truly beat Athens in 3?
I know
it's hard to say, right?
It is hard to say. I mean, that's a good team. They have great players over there, but we're confident enough that we can do the same thing again. We got a great team that proved that we were better this year than last year. So
the numbers, the numbers from last year to this year, that doesn't happen in hockey. Oh, okay, maybe the Florida Everblades, sure. Okay, yeah. They'll go win 3, and I think they're going to go for their 4th in a row, right? Because they made the playoffs. The Hershey Bears won 2 in a row, and now the Black Bears are looking to kind of do that in single A hockey. It's like it just doesn't happen normally, though.
Yeah.
This is not a normal thing, even in minor league hockey, for teams to repeat and then have even better success the second year.
Yeah, and that's exactly like the second year. So what you did in the past means nothing. And to do it all over again, it's just going to be double, triple as hard to do it again.
Absolutely. He is Blake Tosto. Blake, thank you very much for coming on.
Yes, thank you for having me.
It's great to do it with microphones, and you can see my gear. This is all the stuff I use, except for there's one other device that the phone plugs into, and then the phone plugs into right here where your mic is plugged into.
Gotcha.
So it's a pretty neat little setup, but thank you very much for coming on and doing this with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
And we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net.
You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. That was Blake Tosto. We did that at the arena on Wednesday, which was very cool. We'll be at the arena again this upcoming Wednesday as we talk to hopefully a couple more people to talk about, obviously, the upcoming playoffs. We'll see who we get. We'll see who we'll talk to, and hopefully it'll be something that'll be very good. So again, Tuesday is the first playoff game. That'll be the game between Watertown and Motor City. That will be played up in Watertown, and then from there, the first game, depending on who wins that, will be on Friday. We just don't know where yet, right? We don't know exactly which time
the game will start. But it'll be an away game, obviously. Brooks Hill will have all the coverage on their YouTube channel. And we'll talk a little bit more about that on Thursday's podcast, and we'll talk to people at the obviously at the arena on Wednesday and get you guys all set up and ready. We'll have you guys all covered with all the information you need to know about who the Black Bears are going to be playing starting on Friday. All right. So the Power Play Post is on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on whichever platform you listen to your podcast. And please subscribe. Please join the Power Play Post Show Facebook group. Just go to Facebook and search Power Play Post Show and share with everybody that you know. Check out BinghamtonHockey.net for all your Binghamton hockey information and curiosity. Thank you to Rob Lapolis, our MC, John Petitucci, our musical director, and from the Binghamton Black Bears forward, Blake Tosto, as well as the remarks that we got from the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame 2025 class, Jason Spezza and Dieter Kochan. I'm Bob Howard. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Petitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.